Hi, my name's Adam Bushnell and I'm an author, and today I'm going to tell you a traditional tale from China. It's called Chang's Quest, which features in one of my books, Fish's Claws and Dinosaur's Paws. Now, this story is aimed at Key Stage 1 primary school aged children. I hope you enjoy it. A long time ago in China, there lived a boy called Chang, who lived with his mother on the top of a mountain. The problem was, no food ever grew at the top of the mountain, and Chang and his mother were always hungry. So one day, Chang said to his mother, "I'm going to go and see the great God of the West to ask why nothing grows on our mountain." And so his mother bade him farewell, and Chang set off down the mountain. He walked and he walked and he walked for many, many miles until he got to the bottom. And he walked many miles more until it was dark and he was exhausted. Now, Chang noticed that there was a house next to a farm at the bottom of this mountain. And so he knocked at the farmer's door. The farmer opened the door and said, "Hello." Chang said, "Hi there, I was wondering if you could help me. I'm on my way to go and see the great God of the West, to go and ask him a question, and I was wondering perhaps I could spend the night here." The old man said, "Oh, yes, indeed, but perhaps you could ask him a question for me as well, please. Can you ask him why my fruit trees grow no fruit?" Chang said, "Of course, I promise I'll ask your question." And Chang was allowed to sleep for the night, and he slept soundly and peacefully. And in the morning, he said thank you to the old man, and he set off. And he walked for many, many miles, and he walked all that day until the night, when he came across a house by the side of the woods. He knocked at the door of that house, and an old woman answered, and she said, "Hello." Chang said, "Hi there, I'm on my way to go and see the great God of the West to ask him a question, but I was wondering, could I spend the night here, if you don't mind, if it's not too much trouble?" The old woman said, "Oh, yes, indeed, you can spend the night in my house, but while you're there at the great God of the West's palace, could you possibly ask him a question for me as well, please?" "Well, certainly," said Chang. "Could you ask him why my daughter speaks no words?" Chang said, "I promise I'll ask your question." And then he spent the night sleeping soundly, and in the morning he said goodbye to the old woman and he set off walking again. Now, he'd not walked very far when he came across a wide river. There was no bridge to cross over, and the water was too deep for him to step over. The currents were too strong for him to swim over. And Chang was scratching his head and wondering how he could get to the other side, when suddenly a dragon rose out of those murky depths of the river. And this was a Chinese dragon with a golden beard and moustache, with reindeer antlers, teeth like a tiger, and eyes like a demon. And this dragon slithered its way towards Chang, and Chang was terrified. He was frozen with fear, but suddenly the dragon spoke. It said, "Who are you, and what are you doing on my riverbank?" Chang said, I'm trying to get to the other side. I want to go and see the great God of the West to ask him a question, but I need to cross the river to do that." The dragon thought for a moment, and then the dragon spoke. It said, "Can you ask the great God of the West a question from me as well, please?" Chang said, "Of course I can." "Can you ask him why I can't fly like all the other dragons?" Chang said, "I promise I'll ask your question." Then the dragon made itself into a living bridge that crossed the river. Chang climbed upon its tail, walked over its back, jumped off its head, and he was on the other side. The great God of the West's golden palace was there, right in front of him. Chang stepped inside. Chang walked along the golden corridor until he came to a throne room where the great God of the West was sitting upon a golden throne. "I know why you're here," said the great God of the West. "You're here to ask me questions, but you may only ask me 3 questions, no more." Chang thought to himself, well, if I ask the question for the old man and the old woman and the dragon, I've come all this way and I won't be able to ask my own question. But Chang was honourable. Chang had made 3 promises, so he asked the 3 questions. He got the 3 answers, and he said thank you and left the great god of the West's golden palace. He stepped to the riverbank where the dragon was pacing this way and that. The dragon said, "Well, did you ask my question? Why can't I fly like all the other dragons?" Chang said, "The great god of the West said you must be kind to all others. And once you show kindness, he will grant you the power of flight." Well, the dragon thought about this for a moment. He said, "I'll help you cross to the other side, and then I'll give you a present. How about that?" The dragon made itself into a bridge once more. Chang climbed over its back and jumped off its head and looked up at the dragon and smiled. The dragon reached into its mouth and pulled out a silver pearl. He said, "Take my pearl. It will bring you good luck." Chang took the pearl in his hand and thanked the dragon. And as soon as he'd done that, the dragon flew off into the sky and disappeared into the clouds above. Chang chuckled to himself, and he walked a little further on until he came to the house of the old woman. When he got there, he knocked at the door. The old woman opened the door and said, "Hello, how did you get on with the great god of the West?" Chang said, "I know why your daughter speaks no words, and I think I can help. Bring your daughter here." Well, the daughter was brought forward, and Chang saw that the daughter was beautiful. Chang smiled, and he took out the dragon's pearl. He held it up to her beautiful mouth. There was a flash of light that beamed into her mouth, and suddenly the girl could speak, and the first thing she said was, "Let's get married, Chang." And Chang said, "Yeah, go on then, I will." So Chang took the old woman and his new wife-to-be with him, and they walked many, many miles until they came to the house of the old man. They knocked at the door, and the old man opened the door and said, "Hello." Chang said, "Hello there. Did you ask the great god of the West why my fruit trees grow no fruit?" And Chang said, "Indeed I did. Show me these fruit trees." And so they went off, and they arrived at the 9 fruit trees, and Chang said, "We should each dig below the fruit trees, dig below the roots, and we'll find what's stopping them from growing." So Chang, the old man, the old woman, and the girl began to dig like dogs, and as they did, they found 9 jars underneath each fruit tree. And when they lifted the lid off the jars, each one was filled with golden coins. Well, the old woman looked at the old man and she said, "Ooh, you're very handsome." And he said, "You're very pretty. Would you like to live with me?" And she said, "Oh, yes, I would." So Chang and the girl went off back up the mountain to Chang's mother, but not before the old man said, "Take a jar of gold coins each. Call it a wedding gift." Well, the girl said goodbye to her mother, Chang said goodbye to the old man, and they climbed to the top of the mountain. But when they got to Chang's house, they saw Chang's mother, but she couldn't see them. She had gone blind because she'd cried so many tears waiting for Chang to come home. Chang took out the dragon's pearl once more. He held it up to his mother, and this time 2 flashes of light came out. They went into her eyes, and she could see again. Chang took the dragon's pearl, and he buried it at the top of that mountain. And from that day on, any kind of fruit and vegetable grew effortlessly. Chang and his new wife and his mother lived the happiest of lives up there, being brought good luck every day from that dragon's pearl. But every Chinese New Year, the dragon came and visited them and brought them gift after gift. And Chang praised the great god of the West every single day for his luck and his fortune. The end. I hope you like that story.